Hello everyone, welcome back to the series on the cysts of the head and neck region. Today we are going to look at a cyst called as the epidermoid cyst. As the name suggests, epidermoid is nothing but something which is derived from epidermis. Epidermis is nothing but the skin. And the whole concept of epidermoid cyst is that it is usually occurring in the periphery. That means you will not have any association of a odontogenic rest or odontogenic apparatus that is giving rise to this. This is not an odontogenic cyst. It is a cyst which is originating from the superficial epithelium. So the whole concept is that you have the epithelium which has the various layers. So you have the basal layer, you have the spinous layer, then you have the granular layer, then you have the layer of keratin. So this is the layers which you are going to see on the top of an epithelium. Due to a trauma, due to a pinprick maybe, or maybe because of a constant use of a toothpick or a fish bone getting stuck in the epithelium, or because of a road traffic accident where the trauma occurs in that particular area, the superficial epithelium kind of invaginates inside the connective tissue. When this invaginates into the connective tissue, it gives rise to a proliferating implanted epithelium. This will give rise to the formation of the epidermoid cyst. Now it depends whether the area which invaginated contains hair follicles or not. Usually when the skin appendages are seen, we call it as a dermoid cyst. That is one of the important differential diagnoses. What are the skin appendages? It's nothing but the hair follicle, sebaceous glands, or you can also have the various sweat glands that may be present. And these appendages, if they are present inside the cystic lining, we call it as a dermoid cyst. When the appendages are absent, we call it as an epidermoid cyst. So it is originating from an inclusion of the ectodermal. And it predominantly contains the keratin, sebum and hair. When sebum and hair are present along with the sweat glands, sebaceous glands, etc., we call it as a dermoid cyst. When it's absent, only keratin is there, we call it as an epidermoid cyst. So these are the characteristic differences that you need to know about the dermoid cyst and the epidermoid cyst. Dermoid cyst is a congenital inclusion, whereas epidermoid cyst occurs later on after birth because of some trauma, like how we discussed. So the clinical features include a very well demarcated dome-shaped papule that may be noted like you see here in this area. And there will be a central punctum which kind of represents your presence of the trauma that has occurred. So let's quickly look at the histopathological picture. You can see the typical stratified appearance with the basal cells nicely palisaded. The characteristic feature is that it's a stratified squamous epithelium lined cyst with a cystic lumen containing keratin. Now, this keratin will be appearing like flakes on top. So let's have a look at these three images. So this is image 1, image 2, and image 3. So when you have number 1, 2, and 3, which of these fits this particular description? So if you look at this particular picture, this is a typical case of an odontogenic keratocyst. This is a case of odontogenic cyst which is orthokeratinized. That is why it's called as an OOC, orthokeratinizing odontogenic cyst. We realize that the epidermoid cyst, that is the third one, is very similar to that of an orthokeratinizing variant. However, this is happening peripherally. That means it is not inside the bone. These two are inside the bone, number 1 and number 2. That is the odontogenic keratocyst and the orthokeratinizing odontogenic cyst are occurring inside the bone, whereas epidermoid cyst occurs outside the bone. It's a peripheral cyst. So you can look at such mind maps and recap your stuff using the Medi Study Goes application. And you also have a lot of questions that you can kind of discuss. Which of the following histological features differentiates an epidermoid cyst from a dermoid cyst? So we kind of concentrated on the dermoid cyst. So the answer is the presence of the skin appendages. Let's have a look at one more question. Which of the following is the most common intraoral site of a dermoid cyst? Where do you think will be the most common site of trauma for most of the cases? It's in the floor of the mouth, because sometimes by mistake you poke the floor of the mouth instantaneously. When you bite, you may poke the floor of the mouth, and moreover, the floor of the mouth has a very thin epithelium, so it has a higher tendency to invaginate into the connective tissue. What fills the lumen of an epidermoid cyst? Answer is keratin. It is filled up with keratin, which is very similar to the orthokeratinizing odontogenic cyst. What is the alternative name of an epidermoid cyst? Look at the pathogenesis of this. It is an inclusion cyst. So that kind of helps you recap the whole of your mind map on epidermoid cyst. So good luck, happy learning, and continue to follow the mind maps for a quick refresher.